screaming. They wake up to a gun pointed at them. That trauma will be with them the rest of their lives. That's called PTSD, and we all have it. So to speed this up a little bit, I was taken away that day willingly because I'm a peaceful man and I wanted to protect my family. They cuffed me and they brought me down to the federal building, and after they fingerprinted me, what's interesting, the driver, he was from St. Louis. Interesting you bring a guy from St. Louis to arrest a man in Pennsylvania. Is it because he doesn't have any attachments to the community? You think about it. But he's talking to me about homeschooling the whole way down, and he said when he gets to the door, hey man, I gotta go, but it was a real pleasure meeting you. And I'm like, great, let's do it at the same time next Saturday. But thankfully he had enough courage to say that. He recognized that this is not right. This guy was, what are we doing to this man? So I'm fingerprinted and mugshot and all that, and they bring me to a room. Now prior to bringing me to the room, they belly shackle me and they shackle my ankles. I have bare ankles, and they make sure it's nice and tight when they put it on you. And they bring me to the room, and I'm like Jim Caviezel in The Passion of the Christ. And I get to the room, and there's a ring on a white table, and it's a white room about 10 by 8, and they cuff me to the table, and they leave me be for 6 hours. And they just come in every hour or so. You doing okay? Just saying, are you enraged yet? Are you flipping out? I'm just like, man, I was at the foot of the cross. Now, I don't have the time to get into that spiritual, unbelievable, mystical experience that it was for me. But suffice it to say that I rejoiced in suffering for what I was doing at the abortuary. That I was suffering for a righteous cause. That perhaps for such a time as this, God might be calling me. And I share that scripture verse with you because that's where we are at this time and this moment. Now, I was facing 11 years in prison, $350,000 in fines, and 3 years supervised probation. In the last 3 minutes before I kind of wrap this up, I want to tell you that when the government comes after you, they have a 98% conviction rate. They don't lose. So I was seriously planning my life in prison and what that would be, and I had peace with that because I knew I did nothing wrong. And I said to my federal prosecutor, chairman of my board for my ministry that I lead, I said, will the government come in with a plea? He said, no, Mark, the government doesn't need to come in with a plea. And I said, well, I'm not going to ask for a plea. He said, well, you're not going to get one then. I said, all right. So I'm looking up what life in prison's like, and I'm looking up where I could go, and I'm like, is the government going to give me some time with my family before I'm sentenced? And he said, they'll probably give you like 3 months. That's if they want to be nice to you. I said, well, they don't want to be nice to you. He said, well, then you'll probably get locked up right away after your trial. I was like, okay. So I'm looking up like where I would go, and I'm like, oh, Allenwood, PA, because that's a max security federal state penitentiary, or federal penitentiary. They're going to send me to Allenwood, right? That's like an hour from my house. And my chairman of my board said, no, we'll probably send you to Denver or Leavenworth, Kansas. So I'm like, okay. All right, well, this is how this is going to go down. Don't you know that the government comes in with a plea on January 6th of all days? And with this, because this will segue into what we're doing now with this republic. So, yeah, they came in with a plea. Now, I believe the tactics of the day was to humiliate me, intimidate me, and instill fear in you.
Right.
Like that's why they did that, because in our country today, the process is the punishment. And this plea deal will tell you exactly why that is. Because they didn't care about a conviction. Well, actually, they did care about a conviction. They didn't really care about the trial and going through that, because they knew the deal that they were offering me was an insanely good deal. And that every person in their right mind would take this deal. And here's the deal. No time, no fine, no probation. Just plead guilty to the assault charge. Basically just walk away. But you see, it's twisted because they're going to come after you again. And they're going to come after you again, and they're going to put you away even longer. But I said, I'm not taking that deal. And my attorney's like, you sure? He said, maybe you should go home and talk to your wife. I said, yeah, I'll do that. So I went home and I talked to Ryan Marie, and I said, Ryan Marie, if the government came in with a deal. She said, "Oh yeah, what's that?" I said, "No time, no fine, no probation, and just plead guilty to the assault charge." She said, "You're not going to take that deal." I said, "I'm not." She said, "No, because you're not a coward, and that's a cowardly deal. And we didn't come this far to accept such deal. Plus, you're innocent." But she said, "Secondly, if you decide you want to take that deal, Marcus, you have to live with this, right?" She said, "If you decide you want to take that deal, don't bother coming home."
Smart woman.
She's a Spartan woman. She sends her man off to war, and she says, "Come back with your shield or come back on it."
Darn right.
That's the type of woman. She emboldened me, and she said, "You know what, Mark, the third reason we can't take this deal is we just got to do it for the movement, the good of the pro-life movement. Because this is bigger than us.
Yep.
We can take this deal and run and hide and not go out to the abortion mill and play it safe. But you know what?
That's what they want.
That's exactly what they want. I said, "I'm not taking that deal. No deal." And we went to trial. We faced that court, and we were acquitted in less than an hour in front of a jury of our peers who all supported Planned Parenthood. All donated, all volunteered, or had used their services. And every one of those jury members saw it for what it was. A father protecting his son. So, I got a vision, and I'm going to look for questions in a minute. I had a vision that I'd be at the State of the Union. And I met Scott Perry, who invited me to this past year's State of the Union. And Scott is in Dauphin County, York, in that area. And he's an interesting guy. And I got to develop a bit of a friendship with him. And I said, "Hey, Scott, I got to ask you some questions because even before the trial and after the trial, people were asking me to run for office. They said, 'Get away from me. I don't want to run for office. I'm not interested in running for office. I have no desire to run for office.' They said, 'Well, you should do it because you'd be good at it. Plus, maybe God has allowed this to happen for this reason.' So for about 6 months, I said, 'Get away from me. Get behind me, Satan.' Right? I said, I don't want nothing to do with that. But eventually, I couldn't say no because they kept coming there. They kept saying, 'You should run for office.' So I called up Scott and I said, 'Scott, what do you think?' I said, 'Well, Scott, tell me what life is like as a congressman.' He said, 'They're going to come after you and your family.' I said, 'Well, they've already done that.' He's like, 'They're going to keep doing it.' I said, 'Okay.' He's got 2 little girls. And I said, 'Well, what would you do if you were me?' He said, 'Well, look, Mark,' he said, 'the Republic's falling apart. I've already did my part. What are you going to do? The Republic's falling apart. We're on the brink of losing this Republic.'
Yeah. Darn right.
It's your decision to make. You should pray about it. I took the whole month of July and we prayed about it. We called upon St. Padre Pio, asking him to give us signal graces. And we prayed, and the Lord revealed to us that this is what he wants us to do. So I said, "Lord, I'm all in." When you say no to the plea deal, that's all in, right? So when the Lord tells me he wants me to do this, I say, "I'm all in, Lord." So this is what we're doing. We're running for Congress in the 1st District. I'm in Bucks County, not too far from you. It's the entire county of Bucks, a little piece of Montgomery County. And we have a Republican incumbent who's the only former FBI agent in Congress. How about that for a narrative? The guy that's running against him is the only former FBI agent in Congress. I saw him at the State of the Union. He said, "Are you mad at me?" Brian. What can I say? He didn't come out. He didn't support my family. He didn't say anything. He didn't condemn your former employer. What can I say? So this is the guy we're going up against. The Republic, we have a vision for saving the Republic, and I want to share that with you. But I want to open up for some questions. Do you have any questions before I just share with you, what my vision is for this Republic? Questions?
Okay, so if you have a question, raise your hand, and Mary Ann or I will hand you mine. So go ahead. Anybody have a question?
About 7 minutes.
All right.
You said they
All right.
Wait for the mic.
You said they are after you? Who is they?
You have to give me context now. I don't know what you're referring to, what part of the story.
When they came out to get you, the people that are after you?
The FBI. The DOJ?
The government.
Yeah. The Department of Justice.
Powers that be.
Means the whole long was the finishing of that?
Well, I mean, the agents that were there was probably 10 of them, and there was probably 10 additional state troopers. We have names, they're all listed in our federal lawsuit that we're coming after the government now, suing them for all those agents are listed on that complaint. We will file again in 6 months for punitive damages, which will go to a jury trial. Right now, we're just going after the government for just the quantitative stuff, the loss of income and things like that, the traumatic effects on the children. Does that answer your question of the children, the DOJ? Okay. Yes, Bernadette, sure.
Where's the militia sharpshooters for our turn to go after that?
He's going after them in the justice court, though.
So what's the question? I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
It's a bad question.
Oh, okay.
Let's move on to the next.
All right, next question. Sorry, Bernadette.
Yes, Mark, I think I've seen you on Philadelphia News a couple of times.
It was international news.
Yeah, I didn't know you worked for it. When I saw you on the news, but I know who you are. But could you tell us a little bit about your campaign, when your dates are running, and those types of things, and how we can help?
Sure. So 2024 is the election year. The primary, we're primary Brian. And this is his 4th term. Am I right on that, Andy? Is this his 4th term?
Yeah.
Okay. Andy ran against him a couple terms ago. So April 23rd is the primary. We win the primary. We go to the general. Of course, the general's in November. So that's where we're at. We're about 4.5 months away from that.
5th term.
5th term. 5th term. And we've all had it in Bucks County with Brian Fitzpatrick because he votes like a Democrat. All his voting, if we look at the voting, we can see he doesn't vote with the Constitution. So what you're getting with me is a man who understands the Constitution and understands that we need to stick to the Constitution when it comes to our role in Congress. And we don't step outside of that. So for instance, I'm not going to support the funding of the Department of Education anymore. You know why? Because that's not something we should support. That belongs at the state level. And of course, that's always in there, right? So we're gonna shut down the border. At least that's what I'm gonna support. Because that's the only way to stop what's going on. You know, our country, I learned this the other day, can only handle 300,000 immigrants every year legally to process. And we got what? How many millions have come into Biden regime? How many millions coming in? And the sex trafficking, and the human trafficking. We have to stop that. The only way to stop that is to shut down the border. So that's one of the things I'll support, and I would champion that. Of course, we're bona fide pro-life. We know womb to tomb, right? As Chris said, when you have your candidate who votes against the Hyde Amendment, which is one of the greatest legislations we've ever had in our democracy, and votes for funding abortion in the military, that's what we have as the candidate I'm up against. So, of course, we'll contrast that. I'm all about protecting the parents' right. We don't need the government co-parenting with us, right? Protecting parents' rights, school choice, those are important to me. Veterans, are you a vet? I support it. We're losing 22 vets a day. So we got to support our vets. And that's one of the main roles of Congress is military, right? Strong military, and that includes our veterans. So, those are easy things for me. The other stuff, the omnibus stuff, that they pack all this stuff in these bills, and then they give it to you the night before you have to vote on it. I'm not going to play that game. What you have here is a man who has integrity, who's not going to play. I'm an outsider, of course. I don't play that game. I'm going to do what's right because it's the right thing to do. And I'm not there to become a millionaire. 80% of Democrats are multimillionaires in Congress. 30% of Republicans are. I'm not saying the Republicans have this right either. But I'm a Republican. I'm saying I'm not there to become rich. I'm there to serve you. That's a sacred duty. It's a sacred duty, and I see that as key. Any other questions? Yeah.
Why would you say people on the left or the government now are so headstrong on abortion to the point where they're literally promoting it, not just like, either way, it's just so forceful in promoting it. And what you did was constitutional. So why would they go and use that against you, knowing it would look horrible, having so many FBI guys come with guns and a father with children? Why would they go for all that if they knew I wouldn't fail?
Well, I didn't think they thought it would fail. I don't think they realized whose door they were banging on. I don't think they realized that. First of all, like, you know anything about me, you know anything about who I am, and even a football player for that matter, you know you have a resiliency there. I think that they felt like they were going to have someone who was going to be scared and not, going to fight back. But that's not me. They didn't know. They picked on the wrong guy, and they picked on the wrong family. And so I believe they did it because they could, because everyone else takes that deal. But I'm not taking that deal. They are playing on fear, and they wanted to make an example of me. But you know what? The exact opposite happened. So they're doing it because they're winning with it. That's their winning game plan. But it sucks, and we have the truth on our side, and we will use it against them. Any other final questions? Yes, sir.
Yep. That'll be the last.
Last one.
This will be the last
I'm
one.
out of time. This is like getting the oversight committee in May.
Who raised their
Last question.
All right, Ray.
Sorry, Tom.
Which one?
You think there will be an election come 2024, and will you get Donald Trump?
I'll repeat the question. Do you believe there will be election integrity in 2024, and will I get Donald Trump's endorsement? Is that what you said? Yes. Look, no one has any faith in the election process, as do I. I don't either, right? We need to do whatever we can, evaluate the system whenever, after it happens, and proceed with exposing it, right? That's what we need to do.
Is that underway now?
Excuse me?
Is it underway now?
Well, it's already underway in Bucks County. We got people like Andy Mead and all these other guys trying to expose all this fraudulent behavior. They're doing a great job. My own campaign manager is at the forefront of that. But let me say this about Donald Trump. I'm going to be with him this Saturday, and I'm going to ask him how I can earn his vote. Thank you.
Thank you. What's your website?
Helpforcongress.com.
Helpforcongress.com.
What?
Helpforcongress.com. The 1st Congressional District is just down the road. Many of us here, we often have people that are members here that come up from Bucks County every month, but we should all probably know somebody that lives down in that district. Spread the word about how important it would be for him to win this primary and get rid of Fitzpatrick.
Yes.
So, thank you, Warren. Final announcements? Okay, upcoming meetings, events, we have, of course, the Berks Patriots is Thursday, December 21st. If you can get out there, they moved over to Temple, PA now, new facility, but they are good friends of ours. They're working with us on a lot of the issues, so if you can make it to their meeting, get out there and support them as well. Go ahead. What do you got there?
Orchard Steakhouse, some of you got those gift cards. We were there recently. They just wanted to let you know about their Christmas Eve. It's a great place. They're Patriots, so check that out.
The next Second Amendment meeting Thursday, January 11th, and the meeting at the Sporting Clays, 6:30 p.m., and the meeting starts at 7 and ends about 8:45. And our new Second Amendment chairs in the back there, so go introduce yourself and show up at that meeting on the 11th. And January 12th, of course, this event, which is going to be sort of our kickoff event to get the 2024 season going here. So join us. You see the cost is $25 a person. I think they were selling tickets over there.
Correct. And as an encouragement, that's 25 for people who have renewed or joined as a 2024 member. It's 35 for everyone else. And the menu is going to be vodka pasta, sausage and peppers, chicken frontiers, and Hunky Joe is making cabbage and noodles.
And also Tom Campione will be there, so all of us will see him again.
All right.
All right.
And we'll have dancing.
Yes.
Woohoo!
Yes.
All right, the right for committee, your next meeting.
All right, so January 19th, at the back door, Kitty has a, Kitty, can you hold up that pro-life, the bus? All right, she has it over there, so I'm looking for people to help. My bus is $3,000 to get down to the National Right for Life. So for those of you who say you would like to go, it's too cold, you can't walk, help me get people there. I keep my bus down to $20 a person, so if you do the math, I can't pay for the bus without some donations. But if you would like to attend, see me.
Next month's meeting, February 1st, here at the Fearless Fire Hall.
No January meeting?
January.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We were just making sure you were paying attention.
We passed.
Yeah,
Once Tom was wrong, but he was mistaken.
I was mistaken. First Thursday in January, we will be here. Yes. 50-50 raffle. Mother, what's the number that we're drawing tonight?
$130.
Hold on, we'll bring the mic back here.
Marion will hobble down there quickly.
Would you guys go back there and pick it? Mr. Hop, would you go back there and pick the number there if they haven't picked it? Oh. If he wins, he's going to buy a couple of gun raffle tickets, one for his wife.
Or pay for his legal fees, right?
Oh, yeah. It'll be more than that.
0983087.
0983087, is that correct?
09830.
Mo, read that number out again. That might go in now. 087.
See, it's going to purchase this new microphone, I tell you.
That's all mine. Okay, next slide. Andrew, you have anything?
We just want to thank everyone for this past year. We've had some challenges, not only here at the Tea Party, but here in Northampton County, Lehigh County, and the other counties, those who support. But we continue to fight for freedom. I want to thank Tom and everyone else on the board, and for each and every one of you for being an integral part of the Tea Party. We hope you consider making some last-minute contributions at the buckets, picking up some merchandise, cakes and cannolis, renewing your membership, and also purchasing the gun raffle tickets. We hope you have a blessed Christmas, a very happy and safe New Year, and we hope to see you not only at the next meeting, where we will draw the guns and goodies
January 4th.
and we will see you at the party next year. Tom, go ahead.
God bless everybody and pray for Donald Trump.
May God be with you, and bless our two speakers. We have a lost and found department. The Tea Party has a lost and found department. And unfortunately, we have found something. If you check your pockets, especially if you're a Second Amendment person, and if you have lost something, come up and see me. If you can describe it, Second Amendment person, if you can describe it, come up and see me. Again, if you're a Second Amendment person, if you have lost something, come and see me. You can describe it. Don't forget to get the right to life flyers up here that Mr. Shaw talked about.
Pat, that's great.
Take care.
Almost took out the whole camera system. Maria should have been here. I know. She don't like this thing. I know. Probably because I didn't come over and eat lunch. I'm gonna help.
Twenty seconds.